You know, I wonder if Man of Faith would be a rock kind of guy. I feel like he could be, you know. I know he watches the videos, so maybe he'll tell me at some point. Probably not in the comments, because he doesn't like YouTube comments. But maybe in the Discord? Hit me up, Man of Faith. Anyway, I've been hearing a lot of chatter as of late about the Tech Marine. And it's funny, for a game that gets balance patches so, well, infrequently as Dawn of War 2 Elite mod, the meta does change a fair bit, and right now, Force Commander is generally regarded as by far the worst Space Marine hero, and Tech Marine and Apo are pretty much on par, but with differing matchups that they're good at. I don't really play the game anymore, so I'm not even certain what the meta says in terms of the matchups, but what I would say is, I think the Tech Marine is perfectly legit against Chaos. But it's map dependent, and I don't know if this is one of the better maps for the Tech Marine. There's too many line of sight blockers. Look at the Heretics doing annoying shit like this. Definitely detracts from the power that the Tech Marine has in that bolter that he wields. Now, if he had his Bionics upgrade right now, things wouldn't be so bad, but unfortunately he doesn't have that. So, yeah, the other game, okay, he's getting it though already. There you go. Nice positioning here from the Tactical Marines, using their extra capping speed to cap the VP and still, not VP, breakpoint, and still outputting a lot of damage onto the CL. Now we're going to see a little bit of a soft retreat. Bionics sends those CSM flying, but it doesn't actually do that much damage, certainly against only 3 models. Does some huge damage against Heretics. They're a lot more fragile, of course. Okay, so CL kind of overextends. We actually see a rather interesting build from Tex, also known as Man of Faith. I'm just going to call him Tex for this cast. Not actually going for his second scout, which, yeah, that can be tricky on this map, because, you know, as much as this sort of center square is a big lane, the distance from your base all the way out here, or out here, is actually quite long. So yeah, you can get a lot of advantage from actually having some scouts ring around there, but that's obviously not happening in this game. So, okay, we're seeing a war gear kind of play. So we've got the triple gens early on, and we see the Bionics upgrade. Wow, as if those Heretics didn't kill him. Okay, they did in the end. This is actually a really tricky scenario for the Tactical Marines. Tex obviously doesn't want to die, being hit and retreat by these Heretics, so he soft retreats over this way and then retreats out once the Doom Blast is wasted. Doesn't even need to Doom Blast there, does Zevargel, because he sees what kind of players are coming from Tex, and that is another wise move. You know, a lot of Chaos players, I just see them Doom Blasting left, right and centre, and it's really bad. Okay, Tex coming out to reinforce these scouts. I was going to say, why not the Heretics just jump on them? But scouts do get that melee resist, so they're not actually dropping any models. Okay, they dropped 1, but this is well worth it for 7 Heretic models. Yeah, dropping 1 scout for 7 ticks. Hell yeah. Fortunately, the Tactical Marines do have to get out of the base with very little HP, not even half the HP that they're meant to have. So yeah, this is a horrendous start for Tex. Really bad start. But this is kind of what does happen in the matchup. Now, it wouldn't be quite so bad if he had gone for double scouts, of course. And then to lose the Tech Marine as well, oh, it's just awful. That's another 250 wreck down the drain. But the fact that he went for such a light tier 1, it actually makes losing the Tech Marine not as bad as it otherwise would have been, because he's probably got a really high wreck income. Not a lot of upkeep. Obviously, the problem he's got right now is he doesn't even own a single requisition point on the damn map. Can't even cap the requisition right now. He has to prioritize VPs because he's so far behind on VPs already from being triple capped so early on. We see Devastators coming out, which are a unit that, you know, often you will not see, but on this map, yeah, they can be very effective. Just lock them down here, and they cover such a wide space in the center. Can be very strong. And what another tactic you can do, you can put a turret here, and you can put your Devastators here, and obviously they can rotate to cover most of the flanks, and they can't just send Raptors onto them, because then your turret will kill them. And if obviously the Raptors jump on the turret, well, you just turn your Devastators around and blow them to pieces. So we'll see how that plays out. There's a lot of funky retreat paths as well. If that Bionics hadn't already been used, that could have been a great opportunity there with the Heretics. Bit of a whiff grenade there from Tex and the Scout and the Heretics, unfortunately. So I'm assuming that Zev at this point is just going fast into tier 2. Now what he really should be doing is he should be noding that power. He should be noding this power as soon as he caps them, because he's floating shitloads of Requisition. Even considering that he's Chaos. Chaos being a race that really does enjoy having a lot of Requisition in tier 2 to get things like Plague Marines and Bloodletters. Way too much Requisition right now. Tex actually could go tier 2 himself. I don't know if that's a flaw or if he's just like deliberating, do I need more units? Should I get another unit and go for a Gen Bash? Should I drop gens? No, he's going tier 2. Okay. Now elite training on the Scout shit, I think that would actually be quite a cost effective upgrade. But probably get that after you drop the gens like. Just the energy and HP regen from the elite training alone is pretty damn worth it. I definitely think that the Tech Marine will want to get a turret eventually, but there's no point getting a turret when you're behind in tech, because you know that the Chaos are just going to get a Blood Crusher, you're just going to kill the turret with that, right? But you can see that generally the losses that Tex is taking in terms of units is far fewer than the losses that Zev is taking, and that's going to slowly lead to an XP lead for Tex's units. You see they have got a little bit of an XP lead, Tech Marine being the only level 2 unit in the entire game at the moment. You can also see that the cooldown for Bionics is extremely low. Now another thing that I was discussing quite recently actually was the idea that the Bionic Axe for the Tech Marine is actually most effective in the matchup against Chaos. I really do like it. The fact that you already have Bionics giving you that AoE knockback on demand melee, as well as 20% extra melee damage, yeah, it's going to make the Axe build very, very strong. Oh wow, so we're going to see a double attack play. Interesting. So Sergeant coming in for these guys, and then presumably Sternguard here, but man, Tex is really lacking in Requisition. He gets a gen, and that's more XP, level 2 attacks. But he doesn't even have the Requisition right now to get a missile launcher, which is not ideal. Never mind the Sergeant upgrade on his other attack squad, and then inevitably the Sternguard upgrade. Last cannon comes out. Okay, Blood Crusher is in range. First shot misfires because he was focusing on Heretics, I believe. And yeah, the Blood Crusher sights the last cannon and backs out, but pretty tricky situation for Zev because he can't win the ranged engagement here. Not against 2 Tactical Marines. I mean, CSM themselves lose against Tactical Marines in range anyway because of the cracking possibility of the attacks. Certainly when there's 2 of them, it's going to go very poorly for the CSM. Needs to get some Zinch upgrades if they want to try and take that engagement. I'm kind of curious to see, yeah, I was going to say whether we're going to see a missile launcher or a plasma gun. So with the heavy commitment to AV with the last cannon, we actually see a plasma gun coming out for the Tactical Marines, and whilst that will mean that the attacks absolutely destroy the CSM in combat, it's not going to be a particularly cost-effective upgrade for against the Heretics. It certainly doesn't help against the Bloodletters, and it's also not particularly cost-effective against the Bloodletters either. But you can see the Space Marine DPS is coming out thick and fast now. 1 Bloodletter drops already. Now there's some chainswords in retreat path. The last cannon's there to deter the Blood Crusher, which really isn't getting a lot of work done. Now this Tactical Marine squad was the new one. He's lost 2 models, but it really doesn't matter. I mean, it's, you know, it's not ideal. It feeds the Chaos player a little bit of XP, but at least he doesn't have to pay the 150 rec to replace them. Instead, he calls down some Sternguards. So that gives him an option for some soft AV with the Vengeance rounds, and it also gives him an option to deal with the Bloodletters and the Heretics using his Hellfire rounds, which will do great damage to them. You've got to remember the other option that the Tech Marine can get to get a bit of AV on the field is a Melter Gun. And you know, between Vengeance rounds, a Las Cannon and a Melter Gun, that's going to be a lot of pressure on the Blood Crusher, and then once you kill the Blood Crusher with your Melter Gun, that's when you can swap to the Bionic Axe. Put on some pressure onto the Bloodletters, draining their energy and melee with your Bionic Axe. just being a total nuisance. And it looks like that's what we're going to see. Now, unfortunately, therefore, Tex, okay, he's going to get the blood crusher here with a melon gun. Yep, okay, blood crusher's gone. So unfortunately for Tex, his stern guard do get routed by the bloodletters, but overcommitment by Zev by the blood crusher. I don't really know why he pushed so far forward there. There wasn't really much of a need for it. Okay, a little bit of a grenade coming down there onto the heretics. Really doesn't do that much. Didn't actually kill a single heretic. Now bloodletters can continue the gem bash, and just looking at the eco and looking at the VPs, wow, Zev has a really strong lead right now. However, he has fallen behind on XP. I feel like these XP gains that Tex has are going to amplify themselves very quickly. Even with the extra 10 HP per second healing coming out onto the bloodletters right now. Oh my god, the heretics might die to the damage over time. Yeah, even with that healing, the sheer DPS coming out of the stern guard plus the tactical marines is out damaging the healing on the bloodletters, which tells you just how powerful that is. And certainly when the bloodletters are not under worship, they need to be very careful about engaging in melee. They could get quite wrecked. CSM here are going to melt pretty damn fast as well. Would have been quicker, mind you, if the Hellfires weren't loaded in there. They're not very good against CSM. Because they're heavy infantry, they don't actually properly damage at the time. Okay. I would really like to see the Bionic Axe. I think it has to come fairly soon. When you've got the Bionic Axe TM and then you've got the Librarian, you actually end up having a pretty potent force in melee. What the Librarian wants to do, obviously he wants to smite the CSM, because that does extra damage to their heavy infantry armor. But he also wants to be focusing on meleeing the heretics, because every time he melees a heretic, well, pretty much every time, he's going to kill them. And that gives you your whole army, if they're nearby, a damage buff from his inspiration. You'd be surprised how quickly that can stack up when you're already doing so much damage with these two ranged squads. Especially with the Hellfire rounds, you start killing things in retreat very, very fast. But I suppose the real problem for Tex right now is he really is behind the VPs. Really nice worship usage here by the bloodletters. Get in, get a good amount of disruption, do some good damage, and they're just getting healed and healed and healed by the worship. You see them let the Galaxy burn on the Chaos Lord. It can definitely be a good disruptive ability, but Tex is doing a really good job of staying mobile. He's not static, he's not blobbing up too much. So they let the Galaxy burn so far, really up in struggling. Chaos Lord should retreat soon, yeah. He's got a lot of ranged DPS in his retreat path there. Don't like this song. Hold on, guys. We'll try this one. See what happens. Oh, hold on. Need to make sure it's recording. Alright. Jesus Christ, look at the damage that just got inputted on those bloodletters. Okay, they weren't the legitimate bloodletters. Thank God, I was going to say, they died so fast. Got a little bit confused there. That was the blood sacrifice that came out of the heretics. Man, the big problem for poor Tex here is that he just has never been able to get his power back. I mean, map control is the problem, right? He's winning these engagements because he's moving around in a big blob, but Zev is on all the angles, just capping. Actually had his natural power decapped as Tex at this point. Pretty terrible for him. His hopes of getting tier 3 are pretty much nil pois. And there is a great unclean one on the way for Zevargel. What the fuck? I'm gonna be honest, guys, if Tex wins this one, then I mean, what the fuck, Zevargel must have been hit with a missile because he's in Odessa. Okay, so he loses his Chaos Lord. That's not a great start. Tex is making the correct move here, and he recognises he needs to focus fire down the heretics before dealing with the bloodletters, get rid of their healing support. These CSM now are in a precarious position when it comes to retreating. There is potential for a retreat nade coming in here. Looks like a good one. Oh, that's a good retreat nade, man. Attacks are moving, they're not staying still, so they're missing a lot of their shots. The stupid idiot with the plasma gun didn't shoot. Oh man, that really should have been a wipe squad. I don't know why all those attacks didn't seem to shoot.
A requisition point is slipping away.
Last Cannon's been running around with one model for a while here, just kind of trying to cap up the map, but look, the Great and Clean one's about to spawn, and Tex has 160 VPs to 409. How the hell can he make a comeback here? Even if he kills the Guo in a really terrible engagement by Zev, this is just... I don't get it. Like, surely Zev could just then get Chaos Terminators with Lightning Claws or something and just bully Tex off the points and win on VPs. I don't know, let's see. Let's see. Now, I wonder if the Bionic Axe can drain the energy of the Great and Clean one. I mean, I would assume it can. It's not like a tank. That could be very, very useful. Without his abilities, he's a lot easier to handle. Yeah, this is tricky, man. The Melagun just doesn't really do that much damage to heretics. I tell you what, the Melagun will be really effective against the Guo, though. Melter damage does. It has a specific modifier against super heavy infantry, which the Guo is. You know, if Tex can somehow get some power up and get a Dreadnought out, I guess I could see how he could make a comeback. Walkers are notoriously effective against these big melee super units. There's just shit going on everywhere in the map. It's really, you know, this is definitely a high level game. Chaos Lord time and time again finding himself out-positioned and on his own, and you can see the Let the Galaxy Burn just really doesn't do a lot to those tactical marines when they're leveled up. What level are these Stern Guard now? They're level 2, attacks are level 3, no level 4, jeez. So if we got double Las Cannon, we do, okay. I mean, that is a heavy commitment to take down the Guo. You know, the Plasma Guns actually do more damage to the Guo than Las Cannons, but the thing with Las Cannons is they snare him. Quickening must have been used by the Librarian there to prevent the foul snare from actually pulling him in. It gives him damage resistance and knockback immunity. But a really good teleport then from the Bloodletters to follow up and take out the Librarian. You can see that Tex tried to move his Tech Marine into position to disrupt the Bloodletters with his Bionics, but it's all in vain. And the little bit of chip that comes in from the Las Cannon here, I mean, it's just going to be offset by the healing from the Worship. So yeah, this is really tricky. I don't know what the hell Tex can do. I mean, Zev has so much resources right now. He can nearly get a tank as well. Yeah, so we see the Dreadnought coming out. Oh wow! Zev was not paying attention at all. And the Stern Guard and the Tax actually were focusing down the Heretics, and they do it with great success. You can see the sheer damage coming out from the Plasma Guns here is immense. Stern Guard right now with all their levels, and without the healing support for the Bloodletters, they can just beat up the Bloodletters in melee. Especially with the Melter Gun fire support from the Tech Marine. But now with a Melter Gun here, a Las Cannon snaring the Guo, and a Plasma Gun Tac Squad that's maybe even level 4 at this point, nearly level 4. This is a lot of damage coming after the Guo, but we see Chaos Terminators now coming down. Jesus, poor Tex. He is so behind on technology and eco. I don't know how he's staying in this game. But every time I look at the VPs, there's just fewer and fewer VPs for Tex. So his time is slowly ticking down, down, down. But here's the Dreadnought. That Dreadnought will do pretty well against the Guo. Especially when you consider that there are 2 sources of repair on the field for Tex, as well as a shitload of red resource for him, so he can just keep spamming Blessing of the Omnissiah. That Dreadnought will also be able to tie up the Terminators and do really good work against them too. The Guerrero chips away at it, but you can see that the actual DPS against the Dreadnought is not insane. Especially when you consider that, oh my god! The Vomit does huge damage to the Dreadnought. I did not realise it did so much. Jeez. We've got an autocannon on the Terminators as well now, which really does not bode well. The Dreadnought actually manages to somehow kill the CSM. Now the autocannon Terminators are flanking around, but we see the double las cannons have opened up on the Guo, and all the crazy range DPS is coming in from the Tactical Marines, the Stern Guard, the Melter Gun, and that is going to be a dead Guo. Now the Dreadnought can move forward and tie up the Chaos Terminators with the autocannon, and he will easily beat their asses in melee, especially while he's getting healed by the Blessings of the Omnissiah. So yeah, maybe this is the turnaround here. This is quite something. Zevargel unfortunately not paying attention to his individual infantry squads, and he's losing his infantry support. This is like Russia in Ukraine. No infantry support for the BMPs. They're getting obliterated left, right, and centre. You know, the fact that Tex has so much red and can just keep spamming Blessing of the Omnissiah is going to be so pertinent. It's going to help this Dreadnought out immensely. But I'm sure that Tex would love to have his scouts over here healing Dreadnought and capping the map. And again, that's what he's got these 2 las devs for. Look at these las devs straight away taking out the Guo. They're right onto the capping game is the next thing for them. I wonder what Zev's next purchase is going to be. Gonna be honest, his composition is kind of tricky at the moment. The Bloodletters just... they don't really have enough HP against these leveled up Tacticals and Sterns. You can see the Marines constantly move to counter-initiate the Bloodletters whenever they jump in isolated. So of course when they jump in, they're leaving themselves away from the Heretics. Nice blood sacrifice here though, using the Bloodletters from that blood sacrifice to path block the Dreadnought. But now we have a Blessings of the Omnissiah, and we might see some healing from the Scouts. Oh, it looks like that's going to be enough damage from the Terminators. Oh no! The Dreadnought actually manages to get in melee because of the DPS bleed from the Terminators losing the models due to the Plasma Gun. The Dreadnought is going to live with the Blessings of the Omnissiah, and now Scouts are here, Tech Marines here. Zevargel has lost all of his elite units. Oh my goodness, Zevargel is fucked. I don't know if you guys know the history, but Zevargel is not a fan of Space Marines. He thinks they're very, very strong. But he just lost all his infantry support, you know. Why was there nothing else helping the Terminators tie up the range troops that were the ones that were actually doing the DPS there? Level 4 Plasma Gun Tactical Marines. Why were there no level 4 Zinchka Space Marines who were going to sparring champion with the Plasma Gun? You know, why was the CL not running in there tying them up? That would have changed things quite immensely, but... yeah, unfortunately for Zev, too many of his troops were taken out there. And he throws in the towel. You know what, looking back, rather than getting a Guo, why didn't you get a Land Raider Phobos? Would that not have been like 10 times better? Because the thing is, with a Land Raider Phobos, yes, double las cannons are going to kill it even quicker. But you can keep it back and you can be really conservative and you can use it to defend your troops. I think the Land Raider Phobos would have been a lot more effective, and it obviously isn't as easily countered by a Dreadnought. Because Land Raider Phobos would kill the Dreadnought extremely fast. But there you go, this is kind of what Tex is known for, tenacity, man. You know, he was down on economy, down in tech, down in VPs, down in basically every metric except for the fact that all of his army wasn't wiped for pretty much all of the game. Yet he dug in, and there you go, he made the comeback. Level 3 Stern Guard at the end, nearly level 4, the Dreadnought itself already got to level 2, and yeah, just look at the levels on all this shit, man. Level 7 Tech Marine. Nice to see a Tech Marine, a bit of a shame to not see the Bionic Axe. I think that would have been really effective in this matchup. And we've even seen a little bit from the Librarian, but to be honest, it wasn't really that good. Anyway, that's all for this one. Thanks for watching, folks. Leave a like if you enjoy the content, and a comment down below, because that does help us out in the algorithm. It ensures that more people can can see this kind of content. We want everyone to see it so we get more games when we want to play Dawn of War 2, right? That is all from your boy Torpid, and now I'm gonna sign myself out.